You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly pop and geek culture show covering movies, TV, games, and comics. Now your hosts, Cody Pinnick, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the only piece of pop culture left after everything has been deleted by HBOMax.
I'm counting down the days.
I'm Cody, and I pay for way too many streaming services.
I'm Sam.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Samantha.
Oh, we have a great show for you this week. Bunch of things to talk about. We're going to circle back around to some more of that HBOMax stuff. But first, let's talk about some things we've been checking out.
Check it out!
All right, so yeah, let's talk about some things we've been doing. I only have one thing, and it is a circle back around to something I talked about last week. Other than discovering character find of the century Garbage Ape from the Heathcliff comics, I was delighted for full minutes about Garbage Ape.
Oh, people are sleeping on Heathcliff. It is the comedy sensation of the year.
It's like the most anti-comedy comedy. It's great. But no, the thing that I've been doing, I've been playing more of Lego DC Supervillains, and last week I gave it a pretty good thumbs up. I am rolling that back.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the story is still good. The voice acting is still good. Just in general gameplay, not doing anything to purposely mess with the game. I have soft locked it 4 times.
Wow.
For folks who don't play games a lot, soft lock is when something happens out of sequence and an event fails to trigger and you can't move forward in the game. The only thing you can do is restart it. It's not supposed to happen, and yet I've soft locked it 4 times and I've hard froze it twice just from casual gameplay, not like trying to break it. If I wanted to break this thing, I probably could crack it wide open.
It's probably a really lazy Switch port,
I
would guess.
It feels like it. And for that, I can't recommend playing it. It's, man, it sucks.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's fine. I'm going to finish it because that's what I do. But the $3 was almost too much at this point. Yeah, it's rough. It's a rough one. You get 90% through a level and go, oh, nope, something failed to trigger just from natural gameplay. And you're completely stuck. I was stuck in an elevator because a character failed to leave the control booth when it was scripted to. And I just stood there. Couldn't do anything. Just done. Had to restart the whole thing.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not enjoyable.
Me and the wife have been watching Hulu's Solar Opposites show.
Oh,
I'm on season 3.
Oh, it's Rick and Morty, but not?
Yeah. I don't know. I know you're groaning about it, but I've actually been kind of liking it.
I stopped watching it. I watched the first season and 3 or 4 episodes into the second, and I'm like, that's enough.
All the advertisements for the show makes it seem as though it is a mashup of Rick and Morty and Family Guy. Am I too far off on that?
No, I don't think you are.
Okay.
There's no cutaway
But just the tone and setting and stuff like that is.
I mean, sometimes. I mean, some of the humor can be pretty
two.
crass, but so can everything in Rick and Morty.
Yeah, but
It's Roiland cutting free of Dan Harmon telling him not to do things.
Okay.
So it's him indulging his worst
gotcha
tendencies.
I see.
I feel like.
I see.
I don't know. Like I said, I've been liking it. The show is about an alien family that escapes the doom of their home world, and they're supposed to go to an uninhabited world and terraform it to create a new home world, but they ended up on Earth, and they crash landed on Earth, and they're stuck on Earth. 2 of them are still very set in their alien ways, and the other 2 are kind of gone native.
Gotcha. And everyone is dumb.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Well, I mean, the one alien is just Rick.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he doesn't even change the voice.
No, it's the same. It's the same.
It's the exact same. Well, how many are essentially
Jerry?
Jerry. How many of them are Jerrys?
No, I don't think there's a Jerry
The
equivalent.
one
Okay.
alien's name's Terry. He's the other adult alien who went native.
He's the closest you could get to a Jerry, but not really.
Like he loves
Okay.
he loves reality television and Earth pop culture and dumb things like that. And then you have Yumulak, who is the younger brother alien. They're very weird on how they it's really his big thing is when people annoy him, he shrinks them down and puts them in terrariums in his wall.
Oh, okay.
And then there's this whole overarching story world that gets built within these terrariums in the wall.
And it's played like a big budget Hollywood action movie.
Like a dystopian Escape from New York.
And it's kind of cute and clever at first, but then it never ends, and then they keep doing it in season 2.
Well, now they've reached there's a whole episode that takes place completely in the wall.
Okay.
The episode is called The Solar Opposites Go Bear Hunting.
It's the one where Rick and Morty need to go inside Rick's engine for his spaceship, and there's an entire universe inside there.
Kinda, except the aliens never interact with the people in the wall except to give them food. But in the background of that episode, you can see them getting tranquilizer guns and hunting gear, and then later on, they're being mauled by a bear in their house. But it's never explained.
Okay.
As this very serious storyline is playing out with the people in the wall.
Gotcha.
Also, time seems to work differently within the wall with the people. People kind of age faster and whatnot. It's weird. But I don't know. I kind of like the show. It's like a dumb comfort show for me. I just watch it because it's just dumb. I'm not investing too much into it.
Sure.
I don't know. I like it. Like I said, I think I'm maybe halfway through season 3. There's only 3 seasons. There's also a holiday special, but I don't know anything about it yet because I watched it.
The biggest laugh it got out of me was the end of the first season when the little pupa had the stupid Harry Potter wand.
Oh, the Harry Potter whistle.
Yeah.
It has Hogwarts on it, and it plays the Harry Potter theme like a
crappy version of
like a dumb toy whistle. And they're like, how does he keep getting this thing? And it shows him earlier on in the episode entering a neighbor's mind and reliving her greatest memories. In return, that she goes into their house and unlocks the cabinet so he can have the whistle.
Oh, jeez.
She's like, I wish I could see my my mother's face again. I've forgotten it, and yada yada yada. And he creates this whole dreamscape for her. It's it's just this out of the way stupid gags like that. And there's another episode where they have to they put on these special shoes that allow them to retrace their steps through time, but they can't interact with time, to find Corvo, Justin Roiland's character's wallet that he left on the home world.
I've been playing a bunch of video games lately.
Okay.
I've been playing the Wrath of the Lamb, which is the hot new thing.
Wrath of the Lamb?
Oh, wait, no, it's not Wrath of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb?
I got it mixed up with Binding of Isaac expansion.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's very similar to
very
Binding
similar.
of Isaac, it turns out. Is it Cult of the Lamb?
Cult
Is that
of
what
the
it's
Lamb.
actually
Cult
called? That's
of
what
the
it's
Lamb.
actually called. It's a game that combines a roguelike dungeon crawler with a resource management and building simulation. It's very fun. It's very good. The setting makes it work really well. You are about to be sacrificed to a cult. You're saved by some sort of elder god who grants you magic powers so you can start your own cult and fight back against the other one.
And everything is super cute.
So you're
except for the elder
except
gods
for
that
when
have-
it's not.
Except for when it's not.
So
Yeah.
kind of like Binding of Isaac.
Kinda.
Yeah. It has a lot of Binding of Isaac's DNA in it.
It's Binding of Isaac, but not as deep.
Yeah.
And it's resource management, almost like Age of Empires, right? Kind of like you're gathering wood, you're gathering stone, you're building stuff, you're trying to get resources.
Yeah.
Then to go back out and do more stuff.
And the stuff you do in the dungeons gets you more resources too, so you
right,
can build.
It has a really good loop to it.
Yes, it's a very good gameplay loop. And you level up your different followers, and the higher level they are, when you die in the dungeons, you can sacrifice your followers, and the more they believe in you, the more hearts they're worth to restore your health when you die.
Right, yeah.
Both systems mesh really well to make a fun game.
Well, they make it very clear that the followers are supposed to be used as a resource just like everything else.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cult.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a cult simulator and a Binding of Isaac simulator.
Which
Yeah,
is weird
roguelike,
because there is like a game called Cult Simulator.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, what isn't a simulator anymore? You know?
But the art and animation is really cute. And
It looks
good,
very
too.
solid, like very smooth, very solid. I've
Yeah.
watched a few gameplays of it, and it looks pretty solid.
The other game, I got Live Alive. I don't
Oh,
know
yeah,
if
how
I talked
was-
about that on here.
How is that? I think we talked about it off mic.
It's excellent. I've only played through one of the stories, but I enjoyed it so much I played through it all in one sitting.
That's excellent. Which one did you play through?
I played the Ancient China one,
Okay, sure.
where you play as an old like kung fu master, and you have to take on 3 disciples and train them in different ways, and the choices you make during the story affects who lives and who dies.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So and the stats of your disciple that you end up with, and the whole conceit of Live Alive is it's several different like vignette RPG stories that combined into one later.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Octopath Traveler, but a lot better and a lot more fulfilling gameplay wise.
If you need a quick one to play, if you're like have like 20 minutes to sit down, do the present day one, because it is just this guy who decides I'm going to be the strongest, and his levels are.
It's like a fighting game.
It's
yeah.
just Street Fighter. There's no running around. There's no overworld anything. It just gives you.
It's just fight after fight
It
after
just
fight.
gives you eight characters that you have to fight in order, and the whole conceit is you're trying to trick your opponent into using one of their attacks because he is kind of your blue mage. Where if you see them do a special attack,
You can do it.
you will then learn that special attack that you can use later on in the game when everything kind of converges at the end.
And all these stories take place within the same like battle system. It has kind of like a JRPG, almost strategy RPG battle system where everybody's moving around on a grid.
Right.
And you have a series of different skills you can use. I like how your health and your mana refill after every battle. So
That is very nice.
You can go all out every fight if you want. You don't have to worry about resources.
Saving some.
Yeah. I'm partway through the prehistoric era one, and it is very good. There's no dialogue whatsoever. Everything is either voice acted grunts or like iconography appearing on the screen while people make motions down. It's really cool and neat.
Yeah, and this is a remake of an old Super Nintendo game that never came to the West. It was a Japan only, like Super Famicom, right?
Yes. But this is upgraded visuals. It's got the 2.5D thing. That,
Looks like Octopath Traveler.
Which it looks fantastic here. They did an excellent job with it.
Yeah.
It's worth getting.
I've
definitely.
really looked hard at it. I've looked really close. I came this close to picking it up. But,
it's worth it, and it's not a full price game. I think it's like $50 instead of $60.
Yeah, that's not bad.
If you have ever enjoyed a JRPG, it's very, very good.
Yeah. I hear the robot stage is basically Alien.
And that one doesn't have
the part of this future.
Yeah, and that one doesn't have hardly any combat at all.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I've read.
Yes.
But I'm interested in seeing how all the stories connect, because I played the Super Famicom version back in the day, and I've dabbled in every storyline, but I've never finished all of them. But now's the time, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Now's the time.
The other game I've been playing is Rollerdrome.
Okay.
Rollerdrome?
I'm not familiar with this
The
one.
roller skating shooting game. It was in one of the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Directs. It is a lot of fun. Much like how Cult of the Lamb is a combination resource management and roguelike. This is Tony Hawk meets like Quake.
Yeah.
Like an arena shooter meets Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Because you are like a roller derby girl who goes around in a not post-apocalypse, but
Like a dystopian.
Yeah, a dystopian future that participates in Rollerdrome, which is a sport where you go in and you shoot all of the people in the arena.
So
Yeah.
it's like rollerball, but without the actual sport part of it. It's just the
Right.
murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other people aren't like people skating. They are just people there to kill you.
Ah, gotcha.
Oh, so like the Running Man.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. Interesting.
The conceit is it is a shooter, but the way to get ammo is by doing tricks. Tony Hawk style.
Okay.
So there's a point system and a just getting through the level aspect that combine together to make a really fun, interesting game. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it because it's very good and very fun.
I feel like it's kind of how like Splitgate came out, and Splitgate is a lot of fun, but almost nobody talks about it. Splitgate being a first-person shooter like Halo style, but with like portals.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and Rollerdrome, it has a very unique looking, almost comic booky art style. There's like really cool shader effects going on that makes it look really unique.
Oh, neat.
And the shooting is just really solid. You can do like bullet time to slow down while you're skating.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Yeah, I was wondering about that because, typically Tony Hawk games, well, not the way I play them, because the way I play them is you roll for 5 seconds and then fall over, but they usually go pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I typically just I hold the acceleration button in Tony Hawk, and then I just button mash and do tricks.
You actually can't bail out on the tricks. You never
Oh, you never fall.
You never
or whatever.
fall from doing a trick bad. You just don't score as well.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Interesting.
That's kind of a bummer.
No, it keeps it from slowing the game down. You're always moving and you're always avoiding. There's a dodge button to dodge attacks too.
Oh, nice.
So if you've got a sniper on you, you get the laser that's on you. And if you wait until the laser turns white, that means they're about to shoot and you can do a dodge. And, perfect dodge.
More points.
No, if you perfect dodge into a bullet time, you get like super reflex mode, which makes your shots hit harder.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually little story parts before each set of levels where you're in first person, like walking around a locker room or the TV station, and you pick up little like story bits as you play. So there's an interesting story there as well.
Oh, nice.
And a cool boss fight against a giant spider tank.
Excellent.
That just makes me think of a Ghost in the Shell with that spider tank.
Tachikoma?
No, the actual spider tank at the end of the original movie.
God, I haven't seen that in so long.
Like the one, like the Major's like dodging and like it just absolutely destroys like the whole room she's in or whatever. And actually, the lobby scene from the first Matrix movie borrows a lot from that scene.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I can see that.
But more people need to be playing and talking about Rollerdrome, I think.
Okay. Cool.
I'm surprised how much Call of the Lamb is taken. Well, not that surprised.
A lot of it is the Twitch integration. There's a lot of people on it. Basically, there's a whole section where you can, every time you get a new follower in the game, if you're playing on Twitch and you have a lot of people watching, you can actually open it up to a raffle in order to have their name
as the follower.
And not just the name, but they can fully customize their character.
Oh.
And it's like really deep customization. It's like surprisingly deep.
Yeah,
for
there's different animals and colors of animals and all kinds of stuff. I, for some reason, got in the routine of naming each of my followers after some sort of tool. So I have like trowel and
nice.
And the axe is one of their names.
Nice.
Axe.
Yeah, I don't know why I did it. It's just the first thing that popped in my head. I'm like, well, maybe they should all be my tools.
Is your settlement called the Toolbox?
No, I just called it Lambstown.
Okay.
Like Jonestown.
Yeah.
But
Oh well, yeah.
I've also been playing. Speaking, we talked about phone games earlier.
Oh yeah.
And I've been playing. This is also phone and PC, and I've played it in both locations. Tower of Fantasy.
Okay.
And it is Genshin Impact.
Oh,
it is
all right.
Up and down Genshin Impact, but in a not fantasy setting, in a sci-fi setting, which makes it infinitely more interesting to me.
Okay, fair.
And I don't know why, but I've just been playing the heck out of it. And I mean, the gameplay loop's good because it's got the same exploration as Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Because both games are massive knockoffs of Breath of the
Breath
Wild.
of the Wild, sure.
Which I guess makes Tower of Fantasy a knockoff of a knockoff.
Yeah.
A copy of a copy, if you will.
But I don't know. Something about it has grabbed me. The art is good. It's anime stuff, but it's sci-fi anime, which I've always liked that particular like Phantasy Star-esque look going on.
Yeah.
And the gacha mechanics seem surprisingly generous.
Oh, that's good. That is different from Genshin Impact.
Yeah. The one of the main things you'll find is actually the premium currency that you can exchange for.
So it's not just a put money in, get character out situation. I mean, I'm sure there's some of that as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, the premium currency that you find is of a lower level than the other stuff you can buy, but you still get to do rolls for stuff frequently enough to
that's cool.
Not feel like you're wasting your time.
Yeah. Oh, neat. Very neat.
And you get to create a character too with a pretty good character creator instead of just having, a series of waifus that you get with Genshin.
Yeah.
I mean, you get that aspect is there too. Anytime you unlock a weapon, there's a character with it, and you can play with that skin of that character. It's called a simulacrum.
Okay.
So you're disguised as that character, sort of. I don't know. It's a dumb conceit, so they can have the waifus, but you also get to create a character, which is cool. I prefer that.
Sure. Yeah.
And you get a variety of cool weapons too. But it's worth a download, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, I might have to check it out. Sounds cool.
We went to Rifftrax the other night. They did Return of Swamp Thing. We've talked about Rifftrax a lot.
We've talked about Rifftrax a lot, but yeah, Return of Swamp Thing is a terrible movie.
Yeah, it's bad.
It was, especially the scene where he has Heather Locklear eat part of him.
Yeah, well, that's actually taken from the comics.
Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not to that.
It probably looks better in the comic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the Swamp Thing movies always just looked like, I don't know, DC Toxic Avenger to me.
I felt like the first one was good.
The first one was pretty serious and good. This one tried to be it's a Jim Wynorski film, and he's kind of a B to Z grade movie.
Super
guy.
campy and not in a...
Well, would it surprise you if I said it's the same guy who did Chopping Mall?
No.
Yeah.
You smell like pepperoni pizza.
That's a better movie, though.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, Chopping Mall.
I love Chopping Mall.
Mm-hmm. It's a great movie.
We all went to bad movie night for that.
Yeah.
We sure did.
For that movie.
The coolest thing that Swamp Thing does is like turn into goo and then show up in a bathtub.
Yeah.
Which is not cool, but that's the coolest thing he does in the movie.
He does. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And it has the most annoying child to ever be an annoying child in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
He looks kind of like a redheaded version of the fat kid from the Goonies.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, Chunk.
Yeah. And the Rifftrax guys were, of course, really funny.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's a movie that opens itself up to a lot of good jokes.
I mean, I feel like bad movies always do.
Yeah. The short they did, though, beforehand was something else.
Oh, yeah?
It was a film by the Colorado Dental Board about going to the dentist from like the 50s, and a good portion of it was marionette puppets that were terrifying.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I mean, puppets in general are already kind of creepy.
Yeah, and add teeth to that. Add tooth stuff. It was called Danny's Dental Date.
Oh no!
Hi, this is Danny, all-American red-blooded teen.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
There's some fun stuff about what they thought should be in your diet circa the 1950s. Like
a lot of red meat.
Like 4 glasses of milk a day, and also don't forget your butter.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Hey, at least
tablespoons of butter.
Yeah.
Oh.
Added to the milk.
Hey, at least it was real butter and not like margarine. Where it's just oil.
There was a good solid 5 minutes of vegetables falling across the screen. Like puppet dancing across the screen. Is like, how many of these vegetables can you name? And then they fell across the screen for a very long period of time.
Is it like a marionette version of like, let's go to the concession stand?
Yeah, kind of. If it was all like poorly lit vegetables. And then it ends with him going to the 1950s dentist, which is a nightmare. The worst lit dentist office I've ever seen. It was so dark, and the chair that they had to sit in was so scary.
Did they get out the big drill?
They did drill a cavity, and the dentist explains how the drill works by carving his initials on his fingernail and then also carving the child's initials on his fingernail and then putting the drill directly into the child's mouth.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. And also the filling, they give him a filling and it's a combination of like mercury and something else, like
Mercury and lead.
basically. That was a joke. A riff was about throw some lead in there too while you're at it.
Like the crowd was like, oh no.
Yeah, everybody was like, oh.
And I thought it was bad that mine were made out of like porcelain or something.
No, it was a horrible cocktail of death.
That sounds like another 1950s PSA. Horrible cocktail of death. Like red asphalt.
Shake hands with danger.
Yeah.
In your mouth.
Shake hands with danger. That's a
classic.
A Rifftrax classic. That's all on YouTube. You can watch all of
yeah.
Shake Hands with Danger.
Yeah, that one's there. I always like the one Fun with Grass.
Yeah, because corn is grass.
Because corn is grass. They make a terrible, horrible mask out of like long grass.
Oh.
It's terrible.
It reminds me of that picture that's been going around the internet for a while now of like that really old school like PSA about electricity, and it's just a guy made of lightning bolts holding a switchblade next to a child, and it says electricity will kill you.
Yep.
He looks a lot like Springy, the mascot of Springs.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
No Springs.
No springs.
Do you remember that stupid lightning bug from like the electric company commercials that we had when we were kids?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the song that he sings.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it as well.
For some reason, the only thing popping into my head is the "Be Cool About
Without fire
safety."
safety. Yes, that same exact thing.
Like they all liked this seem like Mr. DNA from like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
The Rifftrax guys are always consistently very funny.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about the new Mystery Science Theater is that it's never bad, but there's always ones that are better than others.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And with Rifftrax, it's always at least like a lot. There's a baseline of funny that they never seem to hit with the new Mystery Science Theaters.
Yeah.
Which does sound like I'm ragging on the new ones. They're fine.
They're fine.
They're
very
very good.
Yeah.
They're just Rifftrax always seems to be funnier.
It's clear who kind of were
who wrote the jokes.
who were the best joke writers on the old Mystery Science Theater
Yeah.
cast, and it was Mike Nelson and Kevin
Murphy.
and
Bill Corbett.
Yeah. Hey, let's go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into some news.
Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Dunham, the host of Long Play. Long Play might be, as far as anyone can tell, a hit from coast to coast. Apparently, Long Play may also be an international sensation. I've contacted WZMO's sister station in Paris to check the pulse of the City of Lights. Bonjour! Avec Long Play?
Tu vas te tuer, espèce d'idiot. C'est incroyable.
My French is a little rusty, but I think she said we're a hit.
Imbécile.
I invite you to tune into Long Play Fridays at 11 p.m. and Saturdays at 3 p.m. Juste ici on WZMO.
Hey everybody, we're back from the break where we tell you about other shows on the network that you should maybe listen to.
Absolutely.
If you want.
If you want, if you so choose. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some news. News.
Juicy.
I heard that Long Play show that they have is very good.
I've heard it's very good as well. I've heard that the one coming up in the middle of the day today is going to be 10,000 Maniacs, which is a very good episode.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Versus the four that sit in this room and ramble about stuff.
You heard it here first, except for the people that listened to it last night. Anyway, let's talk about some stuff. So at the top of the show, we kind of alluded to some more problems with Warner Brothers and HBO Max. Let's go ahead and get that nastiness out of the way.
I hope you weren't expecting to sit your child in front of Sesame Street today.
Yeah, that's a problem, huh?
Yeah, because over 200 episodes of Sesame Street have been unceremoniously deleted from HBO Max.
Yeah, now that doesn't mean that Sesame Street is like ending or has disappeared or anything like that. It's still on PBS and first run, whatever, syndication, whatever. But yeah, going back and watching older episodes, yeah, totally gone.
Yeah. A huge list of stuff has been removed from HBO Max.
A massive list.
Mostly Cartoon Network branded material.
It very targeted towards kids programming, or perceived
kids programming.
Most of all of the Cartoon Network shows, except for one lone episode of Uncle Grandpa, which I'm assuming remains because Uncle Grandpa is too powerful to ever be completely destroyed.
I bet it's the Steven Universe tie-in episode because Steven Universe wasn't on the list.
Well, they made too much money off Steven Universe.
Oh yeah, they can't write it off. Yeah, that's the whole thing with all of this. The new owner of Warner Brothers, the guy that's from the Learning Channel and
the
Discovery,
absolutely disgusting dirtbag that owns that company.
Yeah,
allegedly,
he is allegedly
alleged dirtbag.
I think people need to be dissing this man as much as they do like Bobby Kotick. Or
I tend to agree, but yes, he's doing a slash and burn campaign where anything that has not made a certain amount of money, they are cutting just with no regard to anything.
And like
it's wild.
And like no heads up. They're just like, it's just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a 2-day notice on like 20 different shows.
It was a huge list.
It was a humongous list. We don't want to go through the entire list,
No.
but some of the episodes. Well, there's a show called Infinity Train that you guys talked about on the show? I think you guys have mentioned it.
I watched the original pilot years ago when it came out.
Yeah. I've dabbled in Infinity Train. I think I've watched 4 or 5 of them. Probably.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a good show. It's like right up there with
Cartoon Network's best stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has been removed to the point where Cartoon Network's Twitter has also removed all mentions of Infinity Train.
And the pilot was removed from YouTube.
The
Everything's
soundtracks were taken off of streaming services.
Yeah, it is being completely. Well, again, it's a whole thing where if there's any avenue for the IP to make any kind of money, it has to be removed because the minute it starts, it technically makes a profit. It can no longer be a write-off, and they would get in trouble with the feds for tax purposes. Yeah.
That
I don't know. This is me speaking not as a tax person. I don't know that much. I'm going off hearsay off the internet, but people who seem like they know what they're talking about has been talking about this.
Yeah, and it's not 100% been made known that's what they're doing, but it's what
it's very clear.
It's what they're doing.
Much looks like it, yeah.
Yes. I mean, they just slashed, like we talked about last week, they slashed and burned the Batgirl movie and a bunch of things that hadn't come out yet and that was for tax write-off purposes.
But there is some weird stuff like that Summer Camp Island show.
Which is a good show. I like that show.
And they just finished making the 5th season of it. And that's gone.
But
it's still going to air. The new episodes will still air on Cartoon Network, so...
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also the fact, how many people still have cable anymore?
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Well, a show that you guys have mentioned multiple times, Close Enough.
Yep, it's gone.
Yeah, you can't watch that now.
It's gone.
Anywhere.
OKKO is gone.
Which
is a fantastic show.
One of my favorite animated shows of all time.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I wasn't a child when it came out. Like,
no.
As an adult, I watched all of it, and love it.
It's a legitimately good show.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of nostalgia for older properties in that as well.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a Captain Planet episode and
There's
a Sonic
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic Adventures, Sat AM.
Garnet and Ben 10 both show up. Garnet from Steven Universe, Ben 10 from Ben 10. What was another show? Mau Mau is taken off, and that was a decent show. I watched a few episodes of that. Mau Mau is a cat superhero a hero in a fantasy world.
Speaking of Sesame Street earlier, the spinoff, the Not So Late Show
with Elmo,
which I knew existed but had never actually watched. That is completely disappeared, and there's no avenue to find these, save for hitting the high seas and finding secret backdoor ways of finding these things that I cannot condone publicly.
There's a huge chunk of animation history that is going to be...
It's gone.
Is this ripped from the internet?
Lost media.
It's going to be up to the fans to preserve.
Yeah. keep circulating those tapes, as they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of this stuff is, if people aren't careful, this is going to become lost media.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of things on there I had never heard of. I had no
but I'm
connection.
Sure, but every show is someone's favorite show.
Yeah, and also the fact, all the people who worked on those shows, their work is not going to get seen,
Especially
Right.
animation that is an incredibly
difficult field.
and time-consuming process.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's just a shame that things are being targeted the way they are, and I mean there are rumors that some of the DC live action shows like Titans and Doom Patrol, whose series were in the middle of story arcs, are probably not going to be renewed. There's a lot of stuff is just being wiped completely.
And it's like, I know they're trying to make some money back on this purchase or this takeover or whatever you want to call it. But it also
they're gutting it. They're gutting Warner
but it also
Brothers.
feels like Discovery doesn't really fully understand what they have.
No, they don't, because
they
the guy who is in charge of it comes from the reality TV realm, and he only knows how to.
Yeah, which is about making a show for the cheapest amount of money possible.
Yes, yes. It's a shame, and I mean it honestly makes me concerned for multiverses. I know they came out and said that all this stuff is not going to affect them for
now.
You know what? It's only a matter of time before Warner Brothers Sauron Eye looks towards other bits of media under their umbrella and goes, you know what? Let's put the kibosh on this before it makes too much money.
Maybe that Suicide Squad game won't come out.
We're gonna shut.
Probably not.
We're gonna
at this point.
We're gonna shut this down, or you have to put in people from 90 Day Fiance.
That's it. Yeah.
Ugh. You get John and Kate, and then their special move is the other +8.
Let's get the old host from Trading Spaces. You remember that? Remember that show?
Yeah.
I actually legitimately watched that show a lot. That was actually not a terrible one. I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that made that one a terrible one, but the show itself was watchable.
Why Swap has like a billion different skins?
That's it. Yes, that's the next DLC patch is Wife Swap Season Pass.
The worst part is HBOMax was the only streaming service that felt like it was the actual contender to Netflix.
Sure.
Oh yeah, it had such.
And now.
Yeah,
it had such great stuff.
Like it probably would have ended up making money if they stuck at it. Like it was a good service.
They did a good one.
Yeah, the interface is good. It's generally pretty user friendly. It doesn't chug like things like Disney Plus or like Netflix is like the pinnacle. Like it's been doing it for the longest. It's the most stable. It's this. But
they keep raising the price on it.
I know.
Yeah. I almost dropped Netflix.
Oh yeah,
a couple of months ago.
I've been seriously thinking about it.
There's just not much there.
Honestly, if I was gonna drop one, well, not counting Paramount.
Well, yeah, Paramount. Nobody counts Paramount.
It would be Disney Plus because the only thing I watch on it is the new Marvel shows
stuff, and there are other avenues in which you can find those.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my other check it out.
Yeah, go for it.
We watched the first episode of She-Hulk.
Yeah, we did too.
Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, She-Hulk was great. There's a bit of fourth wall breaking, talking to the camera kind of stuff,
and that's good. That was in the character's
which is fun
history. Yeah.
And it like the first episode is like it opens up with her getting ready for a case, and then someone makes an off comment about hulking out, and she goes, "Well, you're probably wondering about that," and goes into like a flashback on how she became the She-Hulk.
I bet you're wondering how I got into this situation.
Yeah, pretty much like record scratching.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's very, very clearly comedy focused.
Oh yeah,
and it is funny.
And it's only a half-hour sitcom.
Yeah,
it's like
basically.
30. It's like 37 minutes.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I don't understand people's beef with it.
I understand people's beef with it. It's because it is a female-led show.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. I wasn't going to go there.
I was going to add more to it, but no, that's it. Unfortunately,
that's the sentient elephant in the room.
IMDb got review bombed
It's kind of in a rock and a hard place too because it's gonna be too woke for those
folks, and it's not doing enough for the opposite end. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because they kind of have to play it a little bit safe. It's a Marvel show.
Yeah.
They can't do anything too extreme one way or the other because end of the day, what they're doing is trying to sell merch.
Yeah, this is like middle. The target audience is middle America. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to be too wild either direction. Like
Sure, it's got to be safe
their
by
goal is
necessity.
Yeah.
I mean, she does sort of have like a superhero fight, like in the last like minute of the show.
Oh, it's Titana, right?
They don't say.
They don't say. Okay.
Yeah,
I believe she plays a character from the comics named Titana, who's being reworked for the series.
Yeah, that's who. Yeah, that's who it is.
Okay.
They didn't
wasn't
say.
that a DC villain? Or am
No,
I thinking...
no. Titana is she's the Absorbing Man's wife from the comic from Marvel Comics.
I'm thinking, what was her name?
Giganta
from DC.
Yeah, no,
That's
different
a
characters.
Wonder Woman villain.
That's a Wonder Woman
Yeah,
villain.
yeah.
No, from what I've read online, this version of Titana has been reworked from being just a straight up supervillain with super strength to a TikTok Instagram influencer and self-reported strongest woman on Earth who gets like.
That makes sense with who they casted.
Yeah,
that seems like a character
she gets
would excel at.
She gets like jealous of people talking about the She-Hulk and decides to like threaten her by try to prove that she's still the strongest person.
In the episode, she just busts into the courtroom out of nowhere. She
Yeah.
even goes, "Who are you?" and gets her butt kicked by Jennifer Walters.
Yeah, that's basically it. And there's going to be a bunch of like C and D tier villains show up in the series.
I know.
Yeah, because
like Abomination is supposed to pop up.
Abomination
at some point.
is one of the major characters,
And Wong does show up briefly, but also Wong fought the Abomination in Shang-Chi.
yeah.
But the weird thing is, Disney Plus doesn't have the Incredible Hulk on their service. It's the only MCU movie that is not on their service.
Because it's not owned by Disney Marvel.
Yeah.
It was a Sony movie.
Was it a Sony?
Uh-huh.
and it's only quasi canon
At this point.
Yeah.
It's like
Like General Ross, the end credit scene with Tony Stark, and I think the Abomination. Oh, and the mention of the super soldier serum given to Captain America.
Right.
Is pretty much the only things they really kept.
But from what I understand, also from what interviews I've read about stuff, because I haven't seen the episode, but I've read a lot of stuff with interviews from the cast and stuff. What's his name? Tim Roth, the guy who's playing Abomination, said, "Yeah, I'm playing the character, and it's technically the same guy, but it's being written so differently that I'm approaching it completely differently. Apparently, he has learned to control his Hulk,
His
Hulk,
Abomination
his
side.
Abomination Hulk side by creating a wellness retreat called Obamastay."
I mean, there's a huge thing about like yoga that Bruce goes into with this thing with Jen.
Yeah. Abomination is like a yoga master now or something.
I mean, he gets arrested at some point.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah.
Because he has to deal with a trailer I saw was like him in like a prison jumpsuit.
Sure. But like the Wrecking Crew's going to show up briefly.
Yeah.
And they're nobodies, but that's great that they're there. There was someone else that I read that's going to show up, and I can't remember who it is. Give me two. You guys talk about it. I'm going to look it up real quick.
I mean, I liked the show. I thought it was good.
yeah
I think the talking points they make in the show are very important. But that's also probably the stuff that makes, certain bends of people unhappy with the show.
but it's so it's so ridiculous to be upset about it because it's so surface level, like women's studies class first day.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like she talks about Bruce goes into this thing where she's talking about like she needs to learn to control her emotions, her rage and things like that. And she goes into a long list of like, "Oh, you think I can't control my emotions when this and this always happen?" And then she like hulks and then de-hulks immediately. So it's like,
oh, it's Z tier villains Leapfrog and the Porcupine.
oh my god.
They're pulling nobodies for this show, and I love it.
Were they in the comic? Like her newest run of comics?
I don't believe so.
Because I feel like that's what they're pulling from.
They're pulling a lot from that, and they're pulling from the original series, and they're pulling Z tier villains from Daredevil and Spider-Man. Leapfrog's a Spider-Man villain. Porcupine's was a member of the Hand briefly, so he's a Daredevil guy. Oh, and Charlie Cox.
Yeah, obviously the Daredevil.
The
The Daredevil is
in it.
going to show up at some point in some capacity. But
And
he's also,
his version is more in line with the Matt Fraction pseudo comedy book that they did years ago. That there's a famous panel online with Matt Murdock wearing a T-shirt that says "I'm not Daredevil" from that run.
It's a Christmas party.
It's a Christmas party where he's wearing a shirt that says "I'm not Daredevil."
Yeah.
It's that version of
But
Daredevil.
also,
So he's having more fun with it.
Matt Fraction has done so many good things for Marvel.
Oh, he really has.
Oh yeah, they've pulled a lot of his stuff for these
Like
shows,
various
and it always
things.
works.
He is a fantastic writer. They've done a lot of stuff.
He definitely like brought levity to your I'm serious superhero shows or superhero.
And I mean, he's able to write serious as well. But
people don't want, at least from my experience, people don't want serious all the time.
no, there's a time and a place.
Exactly.
There
Like
is
I
a
think
time and a
I think that's
place.
why things like the Guardians of the Galaxy got so popular. You know,
For its levity.
for its levity, or the fact that Spider-Man is a top favorite of a lot of people because he has all this power and all this drama about his personal life, but also he is very quippy, he's very jokey, you know.
Yeah.
But he's not constant comedy like say something like the newer the newer Deadpool stuff.
Sure.
And when I say newer, I mean the last 20 years of Deadpool stuff.
People want a quip every now and then, but mostly serious stories around Captain America. They don't want serious stories surrounding, like Guardians or something.
Or
to
your
that
Spider-Man.
level. And She-Hulk is more on the comedy side of things. There's a joke. I know.
The end credits scene in She-Hulk is
I have-
funny.
Yeah, the
I have heard
credits
that.
was very good.
Oh, I laughed so.
Yeah. Don't spoil it for
I
folks.
know,
but
I know,
Yes,
but it's-
I'm aware of it, and
It's very good.
It's like a running conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, there's like a running thing
Yeah.
where she's asking Bruce a bunch of questions about his Avengers companions and coworkers and
Yeah. And Smart Hulk's talking about them like they're coworkers.
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
it's
his colleagues and stuff. And then the fact that she dogs on him for calling himself Smart Hulk. He's like, I didn't come up with the name. He goes, yeah, but you're using it, you're branding it. And he's like, oh, don't you lawyer talk me.
And the CG is fine.
Yeah, the CG's
There's
fine.
nothing wrong with it.
It's fine.
that first trailer that they put out, the CG wasn't done. They rushed that out.
Yeah,
And that's-
it felt like it didn't have the shadows and the depth to it.
Yeah.
But now that's something that
it's a sticking point.
Something antis can hang their hat on, even though they fixed it.
Yeah.
She looks better than the Hulk looked in the first Avengers movie.
Sure.
Because he just looked like a green mass.
Well, and also because this isn't a super serious story, that they can get away with looking a little more cartoon-like.
Also, it's so weird. Her hair completely changes when she hulks. Because she's got really weird bouncy curly hair when she's just Jen, but when she's She-Hulk, she gets these giant flowing, almost like.
And that's in the comics as well.
Yeah, you see it grow. It looks cool when she changes, I think.
Yeah, and it's like a really smooth change. It's not like one of those things where they where Pilot and Rubble and then comes out as the Hulk.
It's a very
you watch her change.
Right. It's Tatiana Maslany was excellent casting. She looks like she could actually be related to Mark Ruffalo.
Oh yeah.
It's very smart casting.
Anyway, we have been talking about this show way too much to get into the other news topics we have.
Well, we're not going to hit all that news. Let's fly through some stuff. Hey, do we want to talk about the Flash, Ezra Miller stuff? I don't know if I want to give this person any more time of day, but we should probably mention it.
They trucked out a very sincere apology.
It was very much in the vein of your parents made you apologize, but you really don't mean it.
Well, if you remember, a couple weeks ago we talked about how Warner,
three paths.
They were talking about three paths: either have Ezra Miller apologize and then do limited appearances in preparation for the Flash movie, have them not be
at all
involved with advertisement at all, or scrap the movie. They went with option one.
They picked the worst one.
They kind of did, because it's the most non-sincere apology.
It's also the
that I've ever
cheapest.
read. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I've been a
bad Flash. I am
I've been
sorry.
a bad boy. Please forgive.
Watch my movie.
Watch my movie. That's it. That's all it was.
Anyway, garbage.
It's a non-story because
Garbage.
it's lip service. That's all it is.
It's barely even that.
Yeah.
We all see through it.
Yep. What's this Ryan North Fantastic Four thing?
Ryan North's writing the new Fantastic Four comic.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, they're doing new Fantastic Four, and he's writing them, and he's a great writer. they'll be great comics.
Wait.
Well, he did all in Unbeatable Squirrel Girl
Yeah.
and Dinosaur. Well, Dinosaur Comics, but he's
he's also a voice actor, isn't he?
No.
no.
No, who am I thinking of?
That's Nolan North.
Nolan North.
Yeah.
All right.
Ryan North is only a writer, but a very good one.
He's a very good writer, and I can't wait to see what he does with Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four needs a little bit of levity.
They do. Also, the fact that the Fantastic Four has been so uninteresting for so long. Even as a comic fan, the only stuff I like about from Fantastic Four is Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
absolutely
Oh
it.
yeah, it'll be good to see his take on Doctor Doom. That could be very funny.
Well, if it's anything like the Squirrel Girl comics, Doom was in
that's
that
true.
quite a bit.
And got his butt kicked by a squirrel.
And in fact, there was a Doombot side character for a number of issues. In Squirrel
Doombot.
Girl.
Oh,
but
Doombots.
yeah, I'm curious to see what they do. Fantastic Four really should be one of Marvel's flagship books because they are
The first family.
Marvel's first family. They were really kind of the progenitors of the superhero genre in Marvel Comics.
They were literally the original comic that Marvel did under the Marvel name.
Yeah, under the Marvel name. I mean, you had Cap and some other stuff
Yeah,
during World
from
War
the
II
old
or what
stuff,
have you.
yeah.
But yeah, they were really kind of the big one, and they helped break the stigma of superheroes just being, I'm going to fly in and save the day and do, because
Listen to your parents and brush your teeth.
Yeah, Stan Lee, for whatever you say about his writing, did give them a lot of like pathos and a lot of interpersonal stuff outside of being superheroes, and that was kind of largely unseen back in the day.
Yeah, like Fantastic Four was Marvel's answer to the Justice League, just better.
Yes.
Like more like, I don't know, approachable, I guess you could say.
Marvel's heroes have always been more grounded.
Oh
They
yeah,
have.
they've always.
Yes.
The reason they ring more true with younger audiences is because they deal with issues and things that younger audiences dealt with versus these towering,
godlike mythologies.
beings like
Yeah.
from DC.
Marvel is attainable. DC is aspirational.
Yes.
That's kind of the way I've always looked at it. That DC characters are kind of a little more infallible, a little step above because they are.
They're the best versions of all of us.
Right.
I mean, look at
Right.
look at all the X-Men, like the X-Men mythos and what it said about, civil rights and things like that from its era.
Sure.
That's the whole reason why Marvel was way more popular than DC.
Currently, yeah.
Even back in the 80s and stuff.
DC was on top for a good long while.
Well, I know that, but you also had
Haven't been for a while.
No.
But it's
The 80s was like Death and Return of Superman stuff.
Death and
right?
Return
Yeah,
of
that
Superman.
was
It was
huge.
when they did
The Dark Knight.
They basically turned the Justice League into a sitcom book. Justice League International is a great book. Keith Giffen is a fantastic writer. But I digress.
let's see here. Fantastic Four. What else we want to talk about?
The Lord of the Rings Embracer Group stuff.
Yeah,
Sure.
apparently the Embracer Group, the Swedish they're Swedish, right?
They're Swedish.
The
yes.
Swedish mega corporation that
/ game studio.
owns everything.
owns all your favorite game franchises now has the rights to Lord of the Rings somehow.
Yeah, this is a weird one. Embracer.
Not the books.
No.
No,
The books are-
just the rights to create more stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Like media.
Media. Yeah.
Media rights, I think is what it's called. Yeah, the Embracer Group is a weird one. Because they don't really put anything out on their own.
They just kind of acquire things.
They have enough money to buy stuff and then make money from that stuff that's already being made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were recently in the news for buying out Square Enix's entire Western arm. So
Yeah.
now they own Tomb Raider and Deus Ex and
Speaking of Tomb Raider, apparently they are. That is something that Embracer Group is working on. Is a new Tomb Raider, and it's not part of the survivalist. These like the last couple of games,
The last 3 or
the
whatever.
last
Yeah.
3.
which is I like those 3 games are very, very good, but that is definitely played out.
Yes.
Please give me the tough Lara Croft again.
The rumor is that we are taking a significant time jump where it is
Like a true Tomb Raider 4 or something.
slightly more middle-aged Lara Croft, who is now more of a mentor type to a next generation of
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raiders. I mean, she's still the main character and still who is going to be the playable character, but the conceit is that she is more of kind of training more.
She's being a video game daddy.
She's being a video game daddy. Yeah, and apparently the leaked script that has gotten DMCA'd claimed had her with a canonical girlfriend. Which is something that has been alluded to many times in the different media, but has never been outright stated. That's cool.
Yeah.
Will you still be able to lock your butler in the freezer?
I hope so.
That's the important question.
Yes.
What game was that? Tomb Raider 2?
Yes.
And along with this, the movie franchise is getting reworked. Like the Alicia Vikander
I forgot
who played
about
her in the
those.
movie.
That was actually a decent
It was
movie.
a decent movie,
I
but they're
forgot
not.
about
But
those
she's no
movies.
longer. She's been let go from her contract for it.
That's
They are.
kind of
They
a
are
shame.
moving. It is.
She was
It
a pretty
is.
good Laura Croft.
But they're taking it in a different direction. That's not the survivalist Laura Croft.
I mean, that's
it's
fine.
getting a little closer to the Angelina Jolie.
Like I'd
original
rather
style.
play like a Tomb Raider that feels like a Tomb Raider rather than a Tomb Raider that feels like a Uncharted.
yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Like, don't get me wrong, Uncharted are good games. The newer Tomb Raider games are very good games. I want, I don't know, I guess more back to original formula.
Yeah.
A little more fantastical.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, you're in Antarctica and you found dinosaurs.
I don't like playing a main character who's getting beat up all the time.
Oh, that first game is so bad about that.
It's pretty gnarly.
Like I'm like, oh man, I feel bad for this.
Yeah,
This is, ugh.
it's not the best.
But then I get to shoot Japanese ghost cannibals with a shotgun.
Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's a great well, I haven't played the third one, but I've played through all of the first one and most of the second one, and they're very good.
Yeah. But, the next time we see Laura Croft, it's going to be in a different context, which, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Hey, I hate to cut us off. We have actually hit time.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's cool. I'm glad we got to talk about She-Hulk and stuff, but we got to wrap things up. You've been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
Do you have social media? I'm sure you do. I mean, we got on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Patreon at Nerd Overload now.
You can email us at steph@nerdoverload.com.
You can give us a call on the Nerd Overload hotline. That number is 586-372-8020. You can leave us a message and we might play it on the show. That call's still out too if you've ever taken one of our recommendations to heart. Tell us about it.
Tell us about it.
Did you like it? Were we right? Were we wrong?
Let's hear about it. Yeah. You can listen to all of our back episodes over at various podcast apps such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and more. And finally, I'd like to thank David Pencil for the use of our intro and outro. You can find more of his stuff over at davidpencil.com. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
And if you're looking into those back episodes, don't go too far.
Skip the first 30.
No.